guys, it's your sewing Sherpa Shauna here, and I told you I'd make a few videos for you about the Carolyn pajamas. So this may be a little bit out of order that I'm filming it, but I'm going to put it up in segments on YouTube, so you should be able to bounce back and forth around. So I'm starting with the pocket, and I'm doing selfies today because Destry's back in college, yay! And so I got to figure this out. So here is my pajama front. I'm putting pockets on both sides because they're strategically placed, because this fabric's a little bit sheer. So if somebody shows up at the door, I have the important stuff covered, right? So I've made my pocket, and I put two little spots here that are in the exact same spot as on the right side. Now these are not the two spots that were on the pattern. I chose these spots because I put this on me and I was like, this is where I need my pocket to go in order to feel safe. So I'm putting this here. I'm going to put in a few pins. And this was my first pocket, so it's not as square as my second pocket, but you know what? I don't care. And I am following the grain, so I can see grain in my fabric here, and I can also measure to the very front edge. I know that's straight. So I do want to have my pocket straight, parallel to that, and I'm following. If you have a print, you might want to follow the print. Okay, so that is now pinned into place. Okay, so I'm at my sewing machine now, and if you'll notice, I've put this on the sewing bed, not upside down, but with the wrong end of the pocket. You know, you would think that I would put this under here and then sew around, but actually on the instructions, they have you sew a little triangle up at the top. So I'm going to sew that little triangle for reinforcement, and to do that, I'm going to start out basically going in the wrong direction. So I'm going to start down here, really close to the edge, put my needle in, pull the pin, and then I'm sewing at an angle, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches, leaving my needle in as a pivot point. I'm going to spin around. Now I'm going to go a couple stitches forward, and I might want to hand crank this if I don't feel like I can control how fast the machine's going. So I went 1, 2 stitches forward, and I'm going to leave my needle in and lift the foot up and pivot again. And now I'm heading in the direction that you would expect me to be heading. I'm heading back down the outside edge of the pocket. But what I've created is a little triangle up at the top. Now, as far as sewing goes, this is going to be kind of hard to see, but I have no lines to follow here. The bed is covered, I'm inside of here. So whenever I have to sew like this, I'll find a spot on the foot and meditate on that spot. Again, I'm not watching my needle, I'm not watching anything else. I'm just going to watch my fabric and where it's hitting that spot on the foot. So I'm just slowly going forward. Now I have this little part that's sticking out here, and that's the underside. I don't want to see that, so I'm going to stick it back under so I can sew over top of that. You're in charge of what you sew over. You are in charge. There's not a whole lot in life that we can have 100% control over, but what's going under your needle is in that realm. So I'm going to the very bottom, and if I feel like I went too far, I'll hit my reverse button and go back to my last stitch. Pivot. You see how close I'm sewing to the edge? Like real close to that edge. But I'm not going off. All right, so I'm getting to the other end here, and again, I have a little piece that's sticking out at the very bottom. So what I'm gonna do is, using my little pointer tool or seam ripper or pin or whatever, I'm gonna shove that back under as best as I can. There we go. Now I don't see it, and I'm sewing back up to the top. Real close to the edge. Get up to the end, lift the foot, and I'm gonna go 2 stitches this direction because I went 2 in the other side. 1, 2 to make it symmetrical. And then I'm gonna spin it back around. I'm gonna go back at an angle over to the end, and I'm gonna hopefully get it in 5 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because that's how many I did on the other side. So this should be symmetrical, and I have got two little triangles here at the top for reinforcement.